Hi, I'm Andy Webb from BeCleverWithYourCash.com. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time here, please do hit that subscribe button. And if anything I talk about today is useful, that thumbs up, hit that like button, really appreciate it. So what I want to talk to you today about is something brand new from Monzo. Monzo are obviously a hugely popular bank. The video I've got that compares Monzo, Starling and Revolut and Monese is one of my most popular over the last few months. Loads of people watching that to find out which one of these new digital banks is best for them. But now there's an extra option, Monzo Plus. They've just launched it for 2020. Now there was a version in 2019 which came out in the spring and had gone sort of 4 or 5 months later because people did not like it. You had to pay different options, different tiered, you can pick and mix what you had, insurance, things like that. But it wasn't very good. People didn't like it. So they axed it and said they're going to come back with a new option at some point because they've got to. You know, Monzo is a new bank, and although it's had loads of funding from startups, and although it's got a really ardent fan base, lots of people loving it, and lots of new customers coming all the time. There's 4 million people using Monzo now. They don't all use it as their main account. And they don't have all these other products like mortgages and loans and all these other ways that banks generally make money from their customers. So they need some cash. So they really want to make something premium, which they hope people will go for. So they've come back with a new version of Monzo Plus. So what I want to do now is I've got their web page up right here. I want to take us through some of the different offerings there so you understand what you'd be getting for your extra £5 every month. So it's not the normal Monzo, won't cost you a thing. This one, £5 every single month, and there's a 3-month minimum as well. So if you sign up for it, that's at least 15 quid you're going to pay. Now I've heard a few people telling me that if you had the old Monzo Plus, you might have got 1 month or 2 months free to kick off this time. So that might apply for you, and if you've got that, well, you may as well have a look if you're not going to pay anything. But for the rest of you, before you hand over, so that minimum of 15 quid, let's find out exactly what you're getting for your money. So you get the normal Monzo features, everything that Monzo currently has, the pots, the fee-free spending overseas, all of that kind of stuff you get. However, there are some changes, and here are some of the main things that are going on. As I said, £5 a month, like I said. Here's the card. It's a different card. We'll get to that in a minute. So the first thing that they kind of talk about is this sort of financial visibility. This is the idea that you can add your current accounts from different banks onto your Monzo app. So you'll be able to see all of them in one space, which is a great thing. But again, it's not anything new, and you can get this feature elsewhere for no money at all. There are services like Yolt, Money Dashboard, a new one called Snoop. They will all let you have loads of different accounts on there so you can, again, see where your money is for free. There's no charge. There is an extra feature which Monzo are adding here, which again, a lot of those other ones will be adding as well. And it's that ability for you to transfer money between accounts within the Monzo app. So if you had, I don't know, a Barclays account, you could transfer money from Barclays into Monzo without having to go to the Barclays app, which is great, which is really lovely. But again, this is something which other banks will be doing. Or are already doing. And again, lots of the high street banks are letting you see multiple accounts at the same time. Obviously, if you do it with Monzo, you get all of Monzo's kind of different features and stuff, which is quite handy. But that's the main sort of thing they're going for here on the website. I think it's a bit of a weird thing to lead on, but anyway, they are. The next thing to talk about here are virtual cards. And this is something which the Monzo Plus will do more than, I think, most of the other options out there. The idea of a virtual card is pretty smart, actually. I quite like it. What you do here is obviously you get your normal debit card, which you can take with you and shop with. But you normally, in normal circumstances, that's also how you would pay for anything online. With a virtual card, you don't have to use that debit card. You can create, and they're letting you create 5 different cards, I think it is. Let's just double check that. 5 different virtual cards within your Monzo account, which you can use online or over the phone, I guess, for any different reason that you want. So potentially you could set one up that is just to use on Amazon. So you've got just an Amazon card. You've got one that maybe you'll only use for subscriptions. So if you're using your debit card to pay for your Netflix or your Spotify rather than a direct debit or anything like that, then you've got all your subscriptions in one place. You could even have it if you're looking for something, you find it at that bargain price using a price comparison site or something like that. Looks great, but you're not quite sure about the website. You've not used it before. You're not, even though you go through all the checks to make sure it's safe, HTTPS, little padlock, all those things. If you're still not sure, again, you could create a virtual card and use it just for that. Now, the reason this is quite nice, I quite like this, is because if you were to have your details hacked for example, it's not going to affect everything. You don't have to then cancel your debit card, get a new one sent through to you. Again, if you're breaking up where you use the debit card, if it's a virtual card that's compromised, then you only have to sort of sort it out on a handful of things, not every single place where you possibly have stored your details. And again, that kind of terms of a compromise, it's not so much that if they've got your details that they can use it on those sites where it's stored. It's more that you don't have to go and change it. So it's not about that rigmarole, that kind of admin hassle of going in and having to write, okay, I now got a new number details for my card and putting those in. Likewise, if your debit card was to be stolen, you don't have that same issue of having to go into those details on the online site. So it's a nice little safety feature. But it's just nice. It's not kind of something that, I think you're worth paying money for, not £5 a month. Of course, I keep saying none of these things so far have been worth £5 a month. You've got to look at it as a whole. So when we get to the end of the different features, I'll kind of work out how much it's worth individually. Do we think actually as a whole it's worth paying £5 a month? But certainly, I think this is a lovely feature, a really great feature, but it doesn't feel very premium to me in terms of 60 quid a year for this feature, which to be fair, it's nice, but how often are we actually really going to use it? And if you really do want to try a virtual card, Monese, which is another one of these digital banks, it's not as good as Monzo, it's not as good as Starling, but it's not bad. It has some nice features to it. You can get one virtual card with that. So if you want to have a virtual card, then why not open up one of those accounts and use that for those particular purchases. So what else have we got? Let's move on. You can see, if you want to, you can assign different colours to your virtual cards. Now, understand your spending better. Now, this is one of the really good things I think that Monzo does generally. I think if you want an account that's going to help you with budgeting, you want to go with Monzo. It has, I think, the best features, the most easiest way to understand where your money's going and moving things around. I really like the pots where you can sort of even pay your bills from a pot and things like that and have money coming out of them. Really, really great. So what they're understanding here, though, this sort of in terms of that budgeting feature, is they're kind of amping it up. So whereas at the moment you can put your money, say this is a bill, this is entertainment, this is, I don't know, whatever it might be, transport, right? Doesn't always work like that for where you want to put that kind of category. So with Monzo Plus, you can say, I'm creating a whole new category and it's called tennis or something like that, whatever it is that you do. So you can break it down as much as you want. And you can also break down purchases, because sometimes we'd all know, you go to the supermarket and you buy things. You might have a mix of things. You might have your food, you might have your toiletries, you might have some booze. And you might want to kind of break those things out. Similarly, online shopping, you might have some clothes, but you might also, from the same purchase, if a big shop, I don't know, some stationery, who knows? So again, if you really want to, you can break this down further with Monzo Plus. Really nice, as is the feature that you can, if you want, export to a Google Docs and automatically export all this stuff to a Google Drive document. So you can really, if you want to, break down stuff and find out where money's going here, where money's going there, which is lovely. But I mean, I'm a money geek, I'm a money nerd, and I don't want to do that. So most people, I think actually the categories you get in your standard Monzo or in those aggregators I talked about like Yolt and Money Dashboard, they're more than enough for most of us. We can get by with that. If you really, really want to sort of break down to the minutiae, well, get a piece of pen and paper out, or your own spreadsheet, and break down those kind of, if you really want to understand where certain bits of money are going. I think, again, it feels a bit silly to pay £60 a year to help you use a feature that's meant to save you money in budgeting. Are you really going to save 60 quid? Maybe you will. Maybe if you're awful at budgeting but you really want the help to get better at it and really break down where your spending is going, great. But most people, I don't think they use any of these features. Maybe one or two extra categories, but on the whole, they'll be using the standard Monzo features. Here's that card. Should we talk about the card now? Is this what they want about? Maybe, let's see. I mentioned it might come up again later, but the idea with the Monzo card, obviously, we know in Monzo, the famous thing there is that coral, hot coral pink, they call it. And it was really identifiable. A lot of people really loved that it stood out, that it was so different to a standard banking debit card. This is what you get with Monzo Plus. Now, it looks really dull here in this picture. It looks like any old bank card, doesn't it? A kind of sort of mixed blue. It's actually holographic. So when you move it in the light, the colour will change. To me personally, that's fine. But it does. I prefer the pink existing Monzo card anyway. But even this, it just doesn't, that's impressive. Certainly, with any of these premium accounts you get, whether it's Revolut or Curve, you can pay money to get a metal card or whatever it might be. I think that's a ridiculous way to spend some money, particularly when these things are all aimed to help you better manage your money. To spend money on something just to get a different, fancier card I don't think it's great, but particularly this. Maybe if you see it in person, you might think it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, and you really have to get it. Personally, I think that's a bit of a kind of a stretch and not as good as what people expected. Okay, so here we have savings. So what they're offering with Monzo Plus, I'm sorry, my face is in the way there. Let me just move my head up a little bit and we can see a bit more what's going on. You will get 1% interest on up to £2,000 in your Monzo account. That could be the main balance or it could be in one of the different pots. So that first £2,000 you've got in there, you'll get 1%. 1% sounds awful, doesn't it? And it is. Although actually, in the moment where we are, it's not too bad. However, you can still beat it. So if you do not have any other savings accounts, and I've got a whole video that I can sort of link to here about the best savings accounts right now, and I'm updating it every month, you will beat that 1% for over £2,000. Okay? So what's the point? If it was 2%, you go, oh, that's interesting, 2.5%, 3%, which would be amazing because the best you can get out there really is just over 2%. But it's not, it's 1%. And again, remember, you're paying for this. It isn't just a free feature, you're paying for this. So again, on its own, it's not worth it at all. Mentioned about the custom spending categories, a couple more things here. So one of the things that Monzo started off with, the reason I've got my account, and I'm sure lots of people have as well, those early adopters, was you had that fee-free spending overseas. It still has that, but a while ago, I think probably a couple of years ago now, it introduced a £200 limit on cash withdrawals from an ATM every 30 days. So it's a rolling 30 days. For most people, city breaks, things like that, and also if you're going somewhere where you're just sort of tapping and paying, £200 is fine. So, okay, great. But there are now all sorts of accounts, Starling, for example, Virgin Money, where you have unlimited withdrawals from a cash machine fee-free. So you wouldn't go for the plain Monzo for travel money. And although Monzo Plus is making it a better proposition for you by doubling that cash withdrawal limit to £400 from £200, why would you pay for something which you can get for free that's better elsewhere? So I think that's a bit of a kind of missed opportunity. Advanced roundups, something that's great about Monzo, although they aren't the only ones that do this. Starling does it, Lloyds Bank does it. There are a few options out there. Is this idea that when you spend some money, let's say you spend £2.80 on a coffee, you can opt in and have an extra 20p, which rounds it up to £3. That extra 20p moves from your main account into one of your savings pots. And it's a nice way to kind of like save in the background so you don't kind of notice this money building up. And it's a great way if you're not very good at saving or deliberately putting money aside yourself, which is the best way of doing it. It's a great way to get some extra cash in your savings. What you can do with Plus is you can double it, or you can do it times 5, or you can do it times 10. So let's say you went for that times 10 feature, you spent £2.80, you would move not 20p, but you'd move £2 into savings from your balance. Lovely, it's all very nice, but it's not worth, I don't think it's worth paying for. And as I said, there are better ways to automate your savings, a standing order every month for a start, or you can look at services like Chip or Plum, which will sort of look at your spending as a whole and move larger amounts of money over for you based on what you can spend. And of course, one of the problems with roundups is you've got to be spending money for that saving to happen. The other options, the money is saved anyway. So it's a lovely feature, roundups, but this advanced roundups, again, I think it's a bit pointless. So what else have we got on here? Oh, track your credit health. A good idea. Yeah, so basically in your app, you're going to get your Credit Karma TransUnion credit score that you can visualize, open it up, what's my credit score? Brilliant, which is a lovely kind of frictionless way to kind of check things. I think it's lovely to break down that chance that you've got to go elsewhere to get this. But you can go elsewhere to get this exact same score for nothing. You can log on online. I don't know whether Credit Karma's got an app, they probably have, but it's very, very simple to do this, and you can get email notifications. You do not need this feature in your Monzo. It's lovely to have it, but I wouldn't pay for it. And don't forget, this is just one of your 3 different credit reports. You've also got Experian and Equifax, and you should be checking all of those, not just one. So this is almost could make you think, oh, my credit score's fine, everything's okay on my report, because you've got this one report, but you do need to check the other 2 as well. So again, a lovely feature, but would I pay for it? No. And this is the one I think is the most ridiculous of all the things. Treat yourself, right? Treat yourself. If you're a Parks and Recs fan, it's a lovely mantra. If you can afford it, And they said, we're going to treat you by giving you discounts to all these different places. Patch, HelloFresh, Naked Wines, and a few other places. Well, look at that. Let's take Naked Wines for a start. Over 50% off 6 bottles of wine when you sign up. This is an offer that you see everywhere. You could Google Naked Wines sign up offer and you will get something similar, the same, maybe even better. Same with HelloFresh. You can get money off your first options all the time. Now, potentially 1 or 2 of these might be slightly better than another one, but I think you'd struggle to justify that £60 spend just to get access to any of these. A bit of a joke, really, having that in there. They should have just given it to all Monzo customers. And then you get, obviously, all your normal Monzo things. Now, I've gone into a bit more detail if you want to check this out over on the blog. Again, looking at all the different pieces. There's that card again. So if you want to, that's over on the blog, and I will link that here as well so you can check that out. But there you go. I mean, Monzo Plus, they're the features. I mean, you can tell I was very explicit that I'm not very enthusiastic about this. They are lovely things to have on the whole, but they are certainly not worth £5 every single month or £60 a year. Even collaboratively, put all those things together. So let's say that having this is worth paying 50p for over, this one's worth maybe let's pay £1 for, that's a really good thing to have. When you can get pretty much all of those things elsewhere for free, the same or better, I don't think it's worth it. If you're a Monzo fan, stick with your standard Monzo account. If you want extra features, you can do much better elsewhere by opening up a free account. And I've got a whole video, which again, doing this every month, where I'm looking at the best different offers right now, from cashback on your bills with Santander through to getting yourself a bonus for switching over, for opening up a new account. Loads of different things out there. Monzo Plus, for me, a big thumbs down. If you've got it already, let me know. If you had the old one and you're thinking about giving this one a try, give me a comment below. I'd love to know what you think. So I've given thumbs down to Monzo, but if you can give a thumbs up to this video, that would be great. Hit that subscribe button so you get more videos twice a week as well. Until then, next time though, stay safe and see you soon.